What's good, everyone? This is Anderson.
Christian here.
And on this evening's episode, we're going to do a little diving into what we really enjoy most.
Movies and shows.
Yeah, and shows. So turn on, tune in, drop out, and ride this wave of weird with us as we enter 111. Hi, Christian.
What's up, AK?
How's it going?
Oh, always fun.
I hear your voice is no longer nasally.
Nope, all cleared. Clear. Well, I mean, it took like a hot minute, and I think it's still a little there, but
Lingering.
yeah, it's that season, man. I don't know. Like, I know at least 5 people right now that are sick.
Which is weird because it's the thing that I find weird about it is like it's so hot.
Yeah, I know.
You know, like how do you get sick when it's hot?
Yeah.
Like you have the cold, but it's like hot.
Yeah, because like the one time a year I usually get sick is around Christmas time,
When the weather changes drastically.
And that makes the most sense. But in freaking September, weird. The wave of weird.
So on this episode, we're going to, like I said, dive into pop culture. Things that are poppity pop.
Yep. Our favorite.
We can talk about some of the things we've been watching recently. Netflix, Hulu, whenever we have time. I don't know how busy you are, but
oh no, yeah,
I might squeeze in like, a show.
I know. I try to unwind to like content, but then like if it's something new, I can't unwind to it because then I'll like want to doze off into like a sleep, and then I'm like, oh, I have to rewatch that. So you'll get stuck in this cycle. I get stuck in the cycle of rewatching shows and movies that I've seen when I'm unwinding because I'm like, yeah, if I fall asleep, it's fine.
Yeah. I did that. To Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, great movie. I love that movie.
It took me about 50 times to finish the entire film.
Oh my God.
Because every time that I would watch it, I would fall asleep at different parts every time.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it like that all the way until I finally finished it one day. And I was trying to put the pieces together.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness. Because, sometimes I wouldn't want to watch the beginning again.
Yeah.
But for at least 50 times, maybe more, I would sit there and just restart it from the beginning to the point where, like, I knew the dialogue.
Yeah.
Because I had literally, like, every single morning when I'd come home from work, I would be like, all right, let's try to watch this. And it was just like, the music was so subduing by, what's his name, John Bryan. Mm-hmm. The soundtrack is it's marvelous. I really enjoy it. And it's just like, just like very low pace, low tempo, just relaxing. So I'd always fall asleep watching it.
Yeah, for sure. At least you were watching an enjoyable movie over and over. Imagine like trying to watch some shitty ass movie 50 times,
Gosh, I can only imagine. So what have you seen recently?
Well, when I do have time, I started watching, I try to get into a couple new films that my sister was recommending. She sat me down and watched Ghostbusters.
Oh.
The new one.
The new one, okay.
Yeah, with
McCartney or whatever, McCarthy, the girl.
Paul Rudd. And it was good. It was really cute. I liked it a lot.
Paul Rudd, the one with the little kids.
Yes.
Not the one with the girls.
Oh no, I'm sorry, because they made two. Made two. Yeah, no, I mean the one with the little kids that kind of had like a Stranger Things feeling.
Okay, I saw that one too. That one. That was fun. What'd you think of it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Excuse me. I think it was a little sad that it took them that long to make that movie because, we got to see the old crew come back. Dan Aykroyd.
Spoiler!
Bill Murray. Yeah, sorry, guys. Spoiler alert. And the rumor that I heard was the fourth guy, I forget his name.
The guy who plays Egon?
Yeah. That him and Bill Murray had a beef. And that's why they never came back for a remake or another movie. And Bill Murray refused to work with him after their beef.
Oh, wow.
And I guess he was pushing the guy that played Egon. I forget the guy's name. He was pushing for another movie, and Bill Murray was just like, nope, nope. And then it was unfortunate that, he passed away. And then they made the film. I'm not sure if the two were related at all or if it was like mere coincidence. But I think it was kind of sad that they kind of like had to use,
CGI.
CGI, yeah, to bring him in.
I know. I remember like that was one of those pictures where it was like, kind of like Top Gun 2, the Cobra Kai series, where it was just nostalgic.
Yep.
And I think they win me over every time because of like nostalgia and then seeing things that you just absolutely adored when you were younger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
It's
like
so
watching Top Gun 2, you had that feeling of like, I'm back.
Yeah, and then like the scene where he sees Val Kilmer, and you're just like, no way.
Yeah.
It's like this weird, like, fulfilling moment in like your life, even though it's like sounds so insignificant. It's like you want to know how the story like ends, or like how it closes.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling about the new Hocus Pocus. I can't wait to watch it.
That's the same with my fiance. She's like, look, it's coming out. And I was like, I never even watched the first one.
You haven't seen the first one?
No.
Dude, well, now's the time to watch it. Watch it right before y'all watch the second one. Definitely.
But yeah, I the one I got confused with was Witches.
Oh,
that's the one that I watched growing
with
up.
Cher and Michelle Pfeiffer. I watched that for the first time this year. Funnily enough, I had never seen it before. Jack Nicholson. It was cool. It was good.
Because the second one the remake came out with Anne Hathaway.
I didn't watch that one, but yeah.
So that's why I was like, I never saw but I know there's a huge like following for it.
Yeah. What's it called? The Witches of Eastwick, I think, right?
I don't know.
Or is it just called The Witches? I don't know.
I always just thought it was the Witches.
Oh, okay.
Them dang witches. Always everywhere. People you don't even know are witches.
Yeah.
Would they practice witchcraft? What do you know about witchcraft?
Not a whole lot, to be honest. And
I like to keep it that way.
I'd like to keep it that way, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. No, but Ghostbusters was cool. I really recommend it. It was like, if I had kids, I would love to go back and show them the original Ghostbusters and then, show them the new one. Just because, like, sometimes I feel like it's like, for me growing up, it was hard to go back and watch older films that were like of relevance to like, my uncles, and they'd be like, watch this. And I'm like, it's from the 70s.
I know.
But I mean, there were some really good classics. I think I grew in appreciation as I got older to not worry about like the overall aesthetics.
Yeah.
But when you're a kid, you're like, I don't want to watch this old, like black and white film.
I mean, I can't relate. I know what you mean in the sense that like I'm going through that with my nephew right now, my 15-year-old nephew. But like when I was a kid, I loved I guess I've always been like an old soul because I was like 5, 6 years old watching like It Could Happen to You, watching Sabrina, watching Alfred Hitchcock movies. But thankfully I had my sister who was like another film buff, and she was constantly, and she worked like at a video store, so she was constantly introducing me to like new films.
That was my dream job.
Same.
As a teenager. Yeah, my one of my lifelong friends when we were growing up, I guess his mother reminded me the last time, we had like a little reunion. She was like, do you remember you used to always talk about how when you grew up you wanted Jeff, the two of you, to open up a video store?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't, but that sounds like something I would have, like that was always like such a big deal, video stores and like the nostalgia of like, going to rent films. Yeah, it's so crazy how much media and like home entertainment has changed.
I know. I tell my nephew all the time, like, you don't understand the feeling of like going, like making that your weekend plans. Like I remember like just being so excited, like, Mom, can we go rent movies this weekend? Like, can that be our thing? And it was always our thing, She'd be like, yeah, of course, baby. And we'd go to either Hollywood Video or Blockbuster, and you'd go through all the movies, and then, can I get candy? Yeah, and it was just that feeling of then like coming home and like planning family time.
Yeah.
Like everybody has to sit down and watch this movie that we rented for 24 hours or whatever, what I mean? So it was
no cell phones, no interruptions.
Nuh-uh.
It was such a good good time.
Yeah.
Like it really was. Like the 90s, that was some of the most precious moments, you know, going, because for me it was the same with my dad. My dad was frequenting the video stores every day, actually.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yep.
He knew everybody in the video store, you
That's
know.
awesome.
And like as a kid, from like 4 years of age, like I was always going with him, and I'd always go to the kids section and look at the covers. It was always the covers for me. You know,
Yeah.
like, oh, this looks good just based on the cover, you
Yeah.
know, and because you're little.
Yeah.
But yeah, that experience is like so forgotten.
You can't replace that.
No, it's so sad. Now I see people my age, just adults that they can't even sit through like a film without picking up their phone. It's so crazy.
I know exactly what you mean, for sure.
Like it's so crazy that like the way society has become now is like so like ADD. Like you can't sit through a film without checking your phone.
It's just how accessible everything is. That's what it's turned into, you know.
Yeah.
Accessibility, because back then, to make a phone call, you know, you would have to like get up from the
Yeah.
sofa, walk all the way to either the wall mounted phone or, you know, whatever house phone you had, you know. I mean, of course there were probably cell phones. Well, at least when I was growing up there were cell phones, but like, you know, everybody in the house was using the house phone, you know, or if you wanted to like check the internet or like, you know, the web for something, you had to like go all the way to the computer room, you know. And now it's just a
Let me
simple
Google
of,
search that actor real quick.
I'm so guilty of that. As I'm watching, I'll be like, oh, I remember him from something, and I open my phone, look at IMDb, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just accessibility, you know, and it's what I think everybody's been asking for, you know, just the convenience of having it in your hands, whatever it may be, you know. DoorDash, right? Food. You don't even have to leave your house to go get food, right?
I know.
I'm going off on a tangent here. I'm sorry, but I'm just
You're
making
like,
a
I'm
point.
telling you the
I know.
movie plot line of WALL-E.
Basically. I was making a point with my nephew though when we watched Ghostbusters, and that like it was cool bringing him down memory lane, and like, you know, he had never seen the first Ghostbusters, and I think I'm gonna try to get him to watch it pretty soon.
That's cool.
But he really enjoyed this one, you know, and the whole family was watching it. My sister's fiance, when like the song came on, he was like, "That's the song from the original movie, and then that's this, and that's that." And it's just like, well, my nephew's like,
All
you know,
right.
yeah, like,
Let me just watch the film.
yeah, you know. But I know what you mean.
Yeah, the little girl in it, she's really good. Mackenzie Grace.
I like her.
She's in a bunch
very
of
talented.
scary movies.
Yeah, I think that's her shtick. I
Yeah.
think she's kind of stuck with that.
Like she's got The Conjuring 3, right?
Yeah.
No, not Conjuring 3. What was it? The one, Annabelle, the third Annabelle, where the parents leave her with the babysitter.
Oh yeah, yep. I just saw her recently in that. A friend of mine was rewatching that.
And then she was also in the one on Netflix, the Haunted House.
House on Haunt.
Haunted
That's the
Hill.
first time I ever saw her. Was in that show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, man, she's
She likes
all
her
about the
horrors.
scary,
Yeah.
scary films. But no, I think the overall movie was like, the messaging was like very, just, you know, it was very pleasant.
Yeah.
You know, just about like forgiving. You know, because that seemed like it was the same kind of like. It seems like everything stems from like family trauma. You know,
Of course.
And it's always like, you know, the messaging was like kind of basically about that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it when I saw it in theaters.
Any other new content you've seen lately?
For me, I
Jim-
watched Prey. I don't know if you heard
Oh
of
yeah,
Prey.
definitely. I watched that too.
And I didn't know what it was about because
Yeah.
I think I saw like, I didn't even see trailers for it, but I just kept hearing about it, and I
Yeah.
forget how I heard about it. And I was like, somebody was like, "Oh, did you see Prey? That's the it's in the Predator universe."
Yeah.
And it's like about a like the tribal, the Indian tribe that faces off with the Predator.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? That sounds cool, you know? And I heard like mixed things. Some people were like, oh, it was actually decent. I heard that more than anything. That
Yeah.
people were kind of like surprised by how
Yeah.
decent it was.
That's how I felt, because I'll be honest with you, I hadn't really enjoyed a Predator movie since, well, guilty,
Like
but
since ever.
well, no, guiltily enough, Alien versus Predator. Do you remember when we watched that recently? Like, was it last year?
Mm-hmm.
I actually really enjoyed that movie.
Was that your first time?
That was my first time ever. I had never
Wow.
seen Alien versus Predator before.
Oh,
And it was really funny. And,
Yeah.
you know, and then before that one, the first one, you know, with
Arnold.
Arnold was, you know, so after I watched it with my best friend. After we watched Prey, we went back and watched, I forget what other Predator it was. It could have been either 2 or 3. It was a more recent one. It was so bad.
Is
So
it the
bad.
one with the guy from Narcos?
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay. So that was the more recent one to that.
that was
then.
the last recent.
Yeah. Some of the dialogue was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it was not good.
No,
You know?
it was really cheesy.
Yeah,
But I mean,
super
I
cheesy.
guess the first one was kind of cheesy. Like the original one was kind of cheesy too. Like it was. I felt like they were trying to take it really serious.
Yeah.
But it was just you got Arnold. Like
Yeah.
you know, like it's just like
The handshake, the infamous
yes.
handshake.
I mean, they did the Commando.
Yeah.
You know, Commando. He had a silly thing about him, and then
Uh-huh.
Predator right after.
Yeah.
It's just so like goofy, you know, but as a kid, it was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
You know, like my dad let me watch it and I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
You know, like the special effects, bar none, like how did they do that?
Yep.
You know, and
Yep.
and just the way the art direction, the way they make, you know, Predator look.
Uh-huh.
It was just like really cool, you know?
Yeah. It was
but-
cool seeing him, the new one, with
Yeah.
how they went with like, you know, his blood and
Mhm. It's cool how they kept it like in the same like the art direction was like similar. Like they didn't lose sight of like, oh, let's make it like this. You know, they kept it true to like the universe, the Predator universe. You know, no, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought
did
it
I.
was. Do you remember what the like? It's a simple film.
super simple. We're basically looking at our main character who's trying to prove herself.
Yeah,
you
she's
know?
she's a female in a native tribe where the women were either cooking or watching the kids
Yeah.
or gathering like
Exactly.
whatever it was.
Yeah.
And the men would go and hunt.
Yep. And she was actually pretty skilled at like hunting and, you know, praying.
Yeah.
And I mean, she still had a lot to learn, but she was actually like very skilled. Her brother, I think, was like the best hunter in the tribe. And we could just kind of see her progress along her journey of trying to prove herself. But at the same time, you know, while she's looking for her own prey, they're all, you know, basically
Being hunted.
as well. And they don't know, you know, what this like creature is, you know.
It's the apex predator.
And that's what he's like looking for, you know. He's always looking for like the top dog from, you know.
And I also think I appreciated that they didn't have like, you know, like I don't know if you watched the Twilight series with like, what is it? What's her name? Kirsten Stewart. And
No.
like, you never saw it?
I mean, I've seen the first one, but I haven't
So
seen
I
all
watched
of
it.
them.
I watched it a long time ago. Where like the Native Americans in it, they were all jacked. Like they were super jacked. I was like, what the heck? The
Yeah.
character Jacob Black was like super like buff, and I was like, damn.
But weren't they
bro.
all like also part wolves too?
Oh, they were wolves. That's right.
Is that why
That makes
they
sense.
got their cardio on?
Yeah, you're right. I was like, why are they all jacked, dude? Yeah, they are part wolves.
Yeah.
Damn, that's probably why. But I just like that. They still kept it like they didn't try to go overboard like Hollywood.
Yeah,
you know, where they
yeah.
made them like because you look at the first one, like every character is like a character.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They didn't just like blend in like a tribe.
Yeah.
Like they all stood out. Like Jesse Ventura with his hat, the cowboy hat with half of it curled up. You know, they're all jacked, like roided out dudes.
Yeah.
So no, it was cool. It was a cool like, you know, keeping it authentic to like the time frame.
Yeah, I recommended it to a lot of friends. I was like, yeah, definitely check it out. You know, it's worth a watch. Outside of that, I got around to watching your recommendation. Haven't finished it, but I've enjoyed the start of it. But that Untold series on
Netflix, yeah.
Yeah.
Manti Te'o.
Yeah. I had never heard of him before the series. Ever.
I remember, I don't remember the name, but I remember all the memes and like the headlines coming out back when that whole ordeal happened.
Yeah.
But I'm not a sports guy, so like I don't keep up with it, you know, like it just doesn't have like relevance to me, right? But the reason why I watched it was because I saw a TikTok video. I know it's crazy. TikTok always provides me like, you know, recommendations, but
Show me the way.
but they were like, it was a clip from the documentary,
Okay.
and it's Manti talking about how like people were making fun of him and how like, you know, they spat on him when he was down. And I was watching this little clip and I was like, who is this? Like, what is this? And I looked in the comments and they're like, oh, you know, this is so terrible what like everybody like did to this guy. And, you know, it's a documentary. And then one of our coworkers, she was like, oh, I watched that Manti Te'o, you know, documentary. And I was like, what is that? You know, like, I don't know who that is. And she's like, oh, it's about the guy that got catfished who played football. Didn't think anything of it. And then, yeah, more recently, a couple weeks ago or maybe last week, I watched it. And I was just, I couldn't.
It's sad.
It is so sad because the premise of it, or if anybody listening hasn't heard or seen or, you know anything about it, it was about this Polynesian or Samoan football player who, since like his youth, had been like such a good kid, like respectable to his parents. He was raised right.
Very disciplined.
Very disciplined. Had nothing but people saying good things about him.
He seemed like a really good person. You could just tell from, the interviews.
And he was very talented at football. Like
Yeah.
he was getting so much attention for his, athleticism. And, it's crazy. Like he had the opportunity to basically play for any college.
Yeah.
And he was determined to go to USC. And instead of going to USC, he said that because he was very religious.
Yeah.
He was very like a devout Catholic. He felt that his answer would be given to him by God.
Yeah.
And like in the documentary, he talks about how he asked one of his coaches, or his coaches asked him like, hey, where you going? And he's like, I really don't know. And one of his like mentors told him like, you should look into Notre Dame.
No, he had his mindset on USC.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, I'm going to USC. And like his coach was like, yeah. And I say that because it struck, like that stood out to me, that like how that happened. Cause like his coach was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. You're going to go to USC, and you're going to be but it's a shame that you're not going to Notre Dame, because then you could be the only Manti Te'o. What did that even mean? Was there like another Manti Te'o?
No, what they're saying is like a lot of like Polynesian players end up going to USC. So it's just like it's like a rites of passage into, the college from Hawaii, playing Hawaii ball.
Okay, gotcha.
But what the coach was basically referring to is like, why not be like the first to go to Notre Dame?
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the documentary shows how he hated Notre Dame when he first got there.
Bad for him.
And he was like, I don't like this.
Yep.
And like you watch, it's just the way he speaks. It's like engaging. Like you feel for him, like he's so honest. Like it's like you're watching him be so honest in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And it's just, he got screwed so bad because of a sociopath.
Yeah.
Another person who was also like from a football family, grew up playing football.
On the other side of the world.
Decided, the
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. The internet was fun, especially manipulating people.
Yeah.
Like for fun.
Yeah.
And this wasn't like a first-time deal for this guy named Renaya. He apparently had been doing it to like tons of other dudes, but anytime they'd be like, hey, let's meet, he would just ghost them.
What's so cool, and I know sometimes it doesn't always happen, but they'll bring on the other side of the story into the interview. So we actually got a chance to like see Renaya on camera giving his side, or her side, I'm sorry, of the story, you know, considering that she's the catfish, you know, like, and you get to hear what her thought process was behind it rather than just hearing like what happened to Manti.
And the thought process is what like kills me, because it was like pure like selfishness, self-absorbed, just really despicable, you know. And I don't want to spoil it because I know you still have.
I still haven't seen the second episode. I'm nearing the first end of
when
it.
you get to the second episode, it's gonna rip you apart at how much crap Manti went through. Like,
it's already getting pretty wild.
I mean, like, it was just, he became headline news around the country. And they were making memes about him. And yeah, you can say, like, well, why would you ever invest 3 years with somebody you've never actually, like, met or, like, you know what I mean? Like, in person. Like,
but you have to think about, like, what his status was at the time. And then like you have to think about his upbringing. Like, he was fully vested in football, you know, and his dad, you know, I think at the beginning of the episode, you know, his dad asked him what he wanted to be, and he told him he wanted to be the best. He wanted to be the best football player. And his dad took him literally and like created him, you know, into the best football player that he could create. So they were like training from morning until nighttime, you know, all day long, almost every day. Worked that kid super hard, right? So like his entire life was football. And then you put him into college football, and it's like, okay, this is what I've been, you know, working towards, right? Like to, you know, get to this point to become pro. So his entire time and energy goes into football. And I would assume that an online relationship kind of, it's convenient because you don't have to see somebody, you know, when you're that busy, when that's your status, no matter like what field you're in, you know, your time is super valuable. So it's like, I can't spend, you know, my entire weekend with my girlfriend or boyfriend, you know. So it's like, for him, I'm pretty sure it was really convenient to have, you know, just a phone relationship or email relationship where they can just check in on each other.
Yeah, and it was like, the crazy part is Manti felt bad for whatever Renaya's, the fake name he created. He felt for that girl.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was just like, it was something that he could handle while doing football full time.
Yeah.
But he just got flamed by everyone. All the sports network people, everybody was just like,
turned his back on him.
How could you, you know, be that naive? But when you get to the end, it's pretty insane how it turns out. Like, I have never seen somebody be so selfless like Manti Te'o. Like, it's really nice to believe that there are still people of like that integrity in the world, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody that will take the higher road no matter like how much has been dished at them over and over, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, talk about like back is against the wall, kicked to the ground, and continued being spat on.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, you still take the high road. If you haven't seen it, like, listeners, definitely check it out. I'm just at a loss for words because it was such a terrible thing that somebody went through, and they didn't have to go through it.
Yeah.
His whole life changed because of that.
Yeah.
You know, like, but, you know, things happen for a reason, and, you know, he got his name cleared with that documentary for sure.
That's good. Good for him.
Yeah.
Can't wait to watch the rest of it. On that same note, I watched another Netflix documentary, which complete opposite story. Well, not complete opposite, but I just mean in the sense that like you have Manti Te'o, who's like such a good person, and I watched The Most Hated Guy on the Internet. That's the name of the documentary or docuseries. And this guy was, you know, such a complete opposite. Like, he was such a piece of
crap.
Yeah. That story was wild. I don't even remember it happening either. But I guess there was like a time period a while back where revenge porn was starting to like come up, you know?
Okay.
And I guess like exes would send nudes to this website. I think it was like, it was really new, and it was considered revenge porn.
Oh
and
man, that's messed up.
Super messed up. Super messed up.
Like, to get back at their exes. They're
Yeah,
like, well, all those nudes you sent me, everybody can see.
Exactly. Gonna put them on the internet, you know. And
there's an internet site hosting this. Like,
yes. Yeah.
How is that not illegal?
Yeah. So the whole story is this guy, I forget his name. He started this website, and he had like a submission form, and you would submit their photos, and then you could submit any personal information that you wanted to submit. And like, he made profiles for these girls or guys, because it was both.
Mm-hmm.
But like, he would put your full name on there. He would put your Facebook picture, any social media pictures you had. He would put your home address on there.
Doxing people?
Mm-hmm.
That is...
Yep. And like, so many lives were like ruined because of this, because these people wouldn't know, and they'd get like a text message from, you know, friends or whoever being like, hey, did you know you're on this website? They had no idea. They'd go look at the website, and there they were for everybody to see. And then like, he had like a separate part of the website where like you could submit a request to have your photos and information taken off.
But you'd have to pay.
No, It was completely pointless, because even though you would submit, he would never take it off. It was almost like a joke, you know, like him making fun of you, because he never took any girls' photos off until he put up the wrong one. And, you know, there was a girl who saw her photo on there, and she knew for a fact that she hadn't sent nude photos to anybody.
What?
Yeah. She was like, I've never sent nude photos. It's one thing to be like, oh, damn, I messed up. I shouldn't have sent these pictures, right? But it's another thing to be like, how the hell did they get my pictures? I know I've never sent these out. Like, did I get hacked? Mm-hmm. And apparently there was a huge number of people who had that same thing. Like, I've never posted these anywhere. I've never sent them. How are they on this website? So then the parents of this girl dug deep into, you know, getting him to take off the photos. But they didn't just stop there, because like, they got lawyers involved. Mm-hmm. At first he thought he was like golden, like he didn't have any issues. But then like, you know, they started to like do more law things, and he was pushed far enough to have to take the photos down, and for legal reasons. And then he started being investigated more and more by the mom, because she was just like relentless. Like, she would not give up at all. Okay. And she did research on the girls that were affected. She started collecting a bunch of data, and lo and behold, he was definitely paying a hacker.
Oh my God.
Yep. He had like joined forces with some hacker to send hacked photos.
Oh my God.
They tied this hacker to him, which
that
was freaking
crazy.
wild. It's a really good story in the sense that like, you see justice for all these girls. And
good, thank goodness.
Yeah, he got the website taken down, and he got he got hit by that group Anonymous. That
wow.
That was the best part of
okay. That's scary. I'd be scared.
Dude, they came after him. Like, they froze his bank accounts. They declared him dead.
Oh my
God. Did something with his social security. He couldn't leave the country.
Wow.
Like, they came after this guy hard. And I think that's when he started to like, kind of like let up a bit. Mm-hmm. But the scarier part, Anderson, was the amount of followers this guy had. Like, his, I forget what they were called, but like, his fan base, they had like an actual name for the family. So they called them the family.
Okay.
And this fan base were diehard. they wanted more. They were like, they didn't feel sorry for any of these people. They were
Incels.
savages, dude. Savages.
No, that's messed up.
I highly recommend watching it.
I
It's
think
worth a
that's
watch.
crazy that he would have a fan base. Like, come on.
Yep.
Like
A
you're
true
basically
fan base.
like you're preying on like people's personal like it's one thing like, you know, if like yeah, you messed up and you're like, "Oh shoot, I sent these nudes to, you know, my ex." And
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah.
But to get hacked, like you didn't even do nothing. You were just a
Exactly.
random target. You're just
Yeah.
like wrong place, wrong time kind of, you know?
Yep. And like people were getting fired from their jobs, like women who were like teachers, like yeah, it was super sad, and it doesn't really fall into the catfish category, but it's still another like internet.
Yeah. Like I always tell Christian, I always tell her like in today's age, I feel like the most powerful people now are hackers.
Yeah.
You know, just because like everything's digital, everything's run off of like a computer software, computers, which is scary because like the power grid, the water system,
Yeah.
like a hacker could literally destroy it all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like did Anonymous just like disband or
I don't know. I haven't really
because you know
heard any
like
status updates.
you know
on
like
that.
with all the bad stuff going on, like you
Yeah.
would think that they would be the opposing like or they would find out why.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I feel like hackers are, especially this day and age, like the most powerful ones.
Yeah.
They could figure out, find whatever they need to. I mean, unless they have their own like rules or like ethics that
I'm sure.
you know
can't
where
get
they're like,
involved
hey,
until-
yeah, you can't mess with that. You can know about it, but there's nothing you can
Yeah.
do. If you do, you're gonna have like a whole string of
Yeah.
sideline hackers. I don't know, you know,
Yeah.
like because I'm sure there are hackers that are like working for the government, hackers that are working for really really bad people,
Mm-hmm.
hackers that are working for like the richest people
Yeah.
out there. You know,
Yeah. They get recruited pretty easily, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows it? I mean, I've heard like the CIA has like when they've gone after hackers,
Mhm.
they've also like brought them on as staff. You've heard that before,
I've
right?
heard that a
Yeah.
lot. Like you've what's his name? His last name's McKinnon, not Peter McKinnon though. He's a British dude. He hacked. I think he hacked into NASA,
Oh wow.
and when he or either NASA or like some governmental like supposed like secure site, maybe NSA,
Okay.
like national security, you know.
That's pretty bad.
And he like talked about how he ran into like other hackers from like China, Russia,
Oh my god.
and it was like so easy for them because the computer password was just password at the most secure like places, and it was just like
They'll never guess.
yeah, like it just they didn't take it seriously, I guess, and then
Wow.
and then that guy found like evidence of like Photoshop space pictures and
Oh my god.
like we're talking like maybe UFOs,
Yeah.
and the U.S. wanted him extradited so they could imprison him.
Gee.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I remember his last name being McKinnon, but he did this all on a 56K dial-up modem.
Okay. Good for him.
Crazy, right?
Resourceful.
Way to go, undetected. Use the slowest form of internet that they'll never catch you.
Oh my lord.
Yeah.
That's wild. I want to look into that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I think he is in prison. I'm not sure. I don't know where his whereabouts are now. But this was like we're talking like 2005, 2006 when that story came out.
Damn. That's wild.
Yeah. But what else have you watched?
So I don't know if you remember when we had our homies, the Briones brothers, on the show.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about one of the local productions.
Yeah, in Houston. I didn't know what they were talking about. They just said, "Oh, I'm sure everybody in Houston knows about it."
Yeah, about Mo, I think is what the show is called.
Okay.
I got a chance to watch it. It was really good, especially because, like, you know, if you live in Houston or you're a local Houstonian or, you know, a native Houstonian, it really touches on, you know, just like
Houston culture.
Houston culture. Like,
That's cool.
Yeah, to the max.
Oh man.
The story's based around this comedian named Muammar and his life as a Palestinian individual living here. In the show, he's a refugee.
Okay.
I don't know if that's like his actual background, but in the show, he's a refugee, and his family sought political refuge, and they're going about their daily lives, and it's good. The story was very well written. It looked great aesthetically.
So he's playing a fictional character. He's not playing his story.
I think it's a fictional character, but I think from the articles that I had read, it was closely tied to him. I just don't know how close.
Because, like, I don't know if you've seen Louis. Do you remember that show?
Yeah.
Because that was basically, like, about his life, but, like, in a narrative format.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it kind of like that?
I think so, for sure.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. And how many episodes?
I think like 9 or 10.
9 or 10?
Yeah, and they're pretty short episodes. I'm pretty sure there's a season 2 coming out.
It's a
Left
comedy?
you on a cliffhanger. It's like a dramedy.
Dramedy, okay.
Yeah, very much has that Louis feel or Aziz
Aziz
Ansari.
Ansari.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, I'll definitely check that out.
I think you'd like it.
I've been hearing about it, especially like driving to work. I'll hear it on the radio. Like recently they had him on one of the radio stations. I think it was like 2 days ago. And they were like, hey, it's Mo. He's got his own show on Netflix now. And he's like, yeah, what's up? Representing Houston. It's cool. That's a really cool, like, because, like, you're here.
Yep.
It's one of the biggest cities, like, fourth largest city in the States. And that's cool that he they made a show surrounding
on
Houston.
Netflix, for sure. I highly recommend it.
That's really cool. Yeah, I as far as like shows go, I really have only made an effort or time to watch the new House of the Dragon.
Oh, I've been putting that off. Do you like it?
Yeah, I really do. At first, like, I didn't watch any trailers really because I didn't want to be like spoiled or like not spoiled, but you know what I mean. Like, I didn't want to like. I wanted to go into it like with low expectations because I really didn't want to like it. I really was just like, I guess I'll watch it because there's nothing else out right now of that like magnitude, that's epic. And
besides Lord of the Rings.
Besides Lord of the Rings. And I didn't even want to watch Lord of the Rings. It was the same kind of feel. Like, it was like, I don't know about prequels. I'm not really a prequel guy. Like, let's go forward instead of backwards. But, I think they do that because the story is a lot more enthralling than what we have watched. Kind of like Star Wars. Yeah. How they went with episode 4, 5, 6. I feel like it's worth watching because it has a lot of familiarities. They have all the places are still like relevant to like the Game of Thrones storyline, and the acting is really good. They have Paddy Constantine, I think his last name is. He's the British actor. Okay. He's been in like anything like from from British cinema in the last like decade he's been in. He plays like one of the kings in it.
Is it the same executive producers, D.B. Weiss and?
I don't think so, actually.
Okay, thank God, because that was my hesitation with watching this, and I think that was everybody's hesitation. Yeah. Everybody was like, "Should I trust you?"
I don't know. Maybe
HBO.
Maybe one of the producers is back.
Okay.
I don't know which one, but no, it's actually really good. The visual effects are ridiculous because. This series, you start out with dragons already in it.
Okay, cool.
You don't have to wait and like, are they really talking about dragons? Or, and like it keeps its like its mythos, like it's the same, like it just has the same feel. Yeah. And they have some pretty cool characters on it.
Do we linger around Khaleesi? Because I know it has to do with her family.
It's her family line.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, before her time, because, by the time we get to her story in Game of Thrones, her entire family is, like, wiped. Yeah. There's no remnants. There's, like, it's just, like, completely destroyed.
Yeah. Because I heard a reference. I think I saw, like, a trailer pop up somewhere. And I heard a reference somewhere where they were talking about the Mother of Dragons, and I was like, wait, that's Khaleesi, but this is supposed to be a prequel. So is there like someone else who's kind of referred to as the Mother of Dragons? Okay, I'm excited to watch it.
And I think we're
Khaleesi's
working to that moment, right?
Yeah.
But it just kind of covers the lead king. I forget his name already. It's not Aegon. It's Viserys.
Okay.
You hear Viserys in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And they talk very like loosely about him, but
Yeah.
in this House of the Dragons, like he's the lead character, and his daughter Rhaenyra. It's it's just so badass, man. Like it's just cool because like you kind of know like the strength of the family and like how they think, and like just because you see it towards the end of Game of Thrones with like Khaleesi like going into power and like how she rules.
Yeah.
Well, this is like a different like time where like they have had peace, and the Targaryens are the ones that have been like the keepers of the realm.
Okay.
They're the ones that brought peace. They united all the 7 kingdoms or however many it is, and like it's so cool because now it's starting to falter, and the reason why it's starting to falter is the lead king Viserys doesn't have a son. So he appoints his daughter. He wants to appoint his daughter Rhaenyra to be the queen of the realm.
Okay.
And that does not bode well with all the other men that run the kingdoms. So
I feel like nothing's changed.
Yeah. It goes straight to like what we were watching in Game of Thrones, where like Khaleesi had to like build her her stature. She had to build her like her troops, and she had to like wheel and deal and like get all these like supporters, and she had like the strongest army, and she had the dragons. So it's really cool. I didn't, like I said, I didn't want to like give it a chance in the sense of
I know, because everybody got burned.
Yeah, I know. It was just like, oh, what?
Yeah.
So I was like, go with low expectations and just see how it does. But man, definitely blew my expectations. Like
cool. That's good.
Like
That's good to hear, because I love Game of Thrones. Like the first, what was that, 5 seasons? Because what do we have total? A total of 8 seasons, right?
I think so, yeah.
So it was like the last 3 seasons that just went to fucking hell. Like they were so bad, but the first 5 strong. Like loved it. I remember like watching the first season and I was just like, oh, what?
You're gonna feel that with this. I think you will. I don't want to hype it because you might have a different opinion, but I'm telling you, I was like, oh, this is.
I need to read the books. Like,
this is good.
So many people that have read the books are just like, oh, you have to read the books, man.
Dang.
Yeah, I've just heard so many good things, and I'm assuming a lot of this stuff is probably embedded into the books if they're pulling, from that. But that's cool. I'm glad. That's.
Yeah, because I remember when I watched Game of Thrones, there were so many characters, and back then, like, I had a coworker who was like, have you seen Game of Thrones? And I was like, no, I don't know what that is. I didn't know what that was. I didn't watch Walking Dead. This was about the time where I was making my transitional move from California to Texas.
Okay.
So I didn't have time for any TV, like a whole, like, I'd say like almost like 15 months. Yeah. I couldn't watch anything because I had no time for it.
Yeah.
So starting work, he was like, dude, you got to check out Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. And Walking Dead, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, I'm hooked. Yeah. Game of Thrones, I was like, dang, this is cool, but this is slow. Like, there's so many characters. They were introducing characters left and right. Yeah. I remember season 1, I was like, I don't remember that guy's name. Yep. I didn't know anybody's name until I think the 4th season.
Oh, wow.
Just because there's so many characters. Like, I knew the Starks, all right? I knew the Starks. I knew Khaleesi.
That's where we start.
Was it Drogo or Drago or whatever?
Her,
Jason Momoa's character.
Yeah.
But it took me a while until I finally was like, all right, I know who that is, you know? Because, they have all these, like, interesting names, too. So it was hard to, like, remember. I was like, who the hell is, Littlefinger? Or who was the bald guy that was the...
who was the Munich?
What
eunuch.
was his...
I'm sorry, I said Munich. The eunuch. I forgot his name. Yeah.
See? Like...
Yeah, there were so many.
And then there was the protector of Khaleesi, the knight guy, whose dad was also like a knight of the wall or
Yeah.
whatever. See, there's so
I
many
know.
characters,
Yeah,
you know.
definitely.
But it was definitely. I think seeing this new series it's so promising.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna enjoy it. Did you watch the new Lord of the Rings?
No, it's on my list too. Cause dang, I've seen like trailers for that, and I heard that the budget for that was ridiculous.
Like-
but it's Amazon, so they better have the money for
Yeah.
that.
So I watched the first 2 episodes, and I think there's probably like 5 episodes now. And I didn't know anything about it. I was just like, what? There's a Lord of the Rings show? I was like, that's going to suck. I was like, that's going to be terrible. Like, how are you going to even come close to like the movies? Like, how? Like, there's no way. Unless you have a budget that's like a movie. Apparently, I did not know they had the highest budget.
It was getting good reviews before it was even released. I don't.
$1 billion.
Yep, a lot. Like it was getting such good feedback before it got released, and I was like, okay, like maybe it's gonna be pretty good.
So I watched the first episode.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what the storyline was. I didn't know where it was going to take place. Dang, it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It basically takes place with the character who's played by Kate Blanchett in
Yeah,
the
I
Lord of
heard
the Rings.
I heard she's a badass.
Oh my gosh.
I
And
heard she's a badass.
it's really well shot. The
Yeah.
visuals are amazing. I was like, man, this is better than the old Lord of the Rings, like the way it looks.
Yeah.
I was like, this is amazing. This looks incredible. So now I know where they put a lot of their money.
It's kind of cool that we have 2 huge main shows right now that are basically
like fantasy,
centered around
yeah.
women empowerment too. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of dope. You know, we have 2 like badass, like, you know, female leads.
Yeah, she's really cool in it. Like you gravitate to her character right away just
Yeah.
because like the way they make her look. She just looks like, you know, she's got like this stoicism about her and like, you know, just all around dope character,
Yeah.
man.
I can't wait to watch it. It's on my list for sure.
Yeah. But I liked what I saw so far. You know, there's some things where I'm like, oh, it's kind of kiddie, but again, it's like a family fantasy fiction.
For sure.
You know, you can't compare that in like House of the Dragon, where there's just like tons of like sex scenes and like people getting
Complete
gutted.
opposite.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't compare the two.
Yeah,
like,
the purity
Yeah.
in Lord of the Rings, you know, and I always think about that scene with Sam and Frodo where he's like, Sam! and then Sam's like, Frodo, Mr. Frodo.
it's like always like jolly.
Yeah, so you can't compare the two for sure.
No, but you go and do your homework, watch the rest of the Untold.
Oh, yes. That's on my list this weekend.
I'll try to check out that documentary, The Most Hated Man
You
on the
should,
internet.
man. It's messed up. So messed up. But check out Malmar, too.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
I'll
you'll
check out.
appreciate
I think
it.
I'll watch that one first.
Yeah.
Because those shows, I feel like it's an easier watch for me.
It is,
I
because it's faster.
Yeah, because the last show that I watched that I thought was like really well written and funny was Dave.
Dave. Oh, yeah, I need to watch season 2.
Oh, season 2
After you
is so
recommended
good.
it, I was like, I was hooked. It was really
It's
funny.
good writing,
It was
right?
good, yeah.
Like I really appreciated the writing and
Yeah.
the character development. It's just I was like, man, it's finally like a show that's like relevant and its humor is like spot on.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen Dave, check out Dave as well. I want to just say before we head off, there's another show that I kind of got hooked on. It was called Reservation Dogs.
Mm-hmm. On Hulu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
that's getting really good reviews too.
I think Taika is one of the producers.
Taika
It's
Waititi. I
very
love
much
him.
like his humor,
Yeah.
you know, but he didn't write it, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it's very similar to a lot of his like earlier works,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I love Boy.
Yeah. So Reservation Dogs it's about like the tribal life, not tribal life, I'm sorry, but like reservation living.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where these kids just, you know, are trying to escape. They're trying to
Yeah.
escape that life, and it feels like it's impossible. They just lost a friend, and they're trying to, like, you know, heal their wounds, and they just have like these funny little, you know, adventures. So it's another like easy watch. Like, you know, it's light entertainment.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no. You want to close this out?
yeah, guys, if you have any recommendations on shows, movies, old or new, we're always down to watch new content, new to us at least. So please feel free to reach out to us on all of our socials. We're at Enter, ENTER, the number 1, and then 11, ELEVEN. Instagram, TikTok are usually the two that are the easiest to get a hold of us. But we're on all socials. Pinterest, not yet. Stay tuned for season 2.
We're going to get a Pinterest account. That's
I don't know
the goal.
what we're going to put on there, but we're going to get one.
All our merch.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for listening. Bye.